Welcome back to our journey through Daniel Kahneman's incredible book, Thinking Fast and Slow. Today, we're tackling a really fascinating puzzle. Why does the fear of losing something so often overpower the joy of winning?
All right, let's kick things off with a little thought experiment. I want you to really consider this. It's a simple coin flip. Heads, you get 150 euros. Tails, you'll lose 100. So, what do you do? Do you take the bet?
Now, if you look at the numbers, this is a no-brainer. The potential gain is way bigger than the potential loss. You should take this bet every single time. And yet, I'm willing to bet you hesitated, right? You probably felt this little knot in your stomach telling you, I don't know. And you're not alone. There's a very powerful reason for that feeling. So here is what we're going to unpack today. We're going to look at why you wouldn't take that bet, explore the Nobel Prize-winning theory that explains it all, and get into its two core rules. And finally, we're going to unmask the real decision maker inside your head. And trust me, it's probably not who you think it is.
Okay, let's get right into it. The secret to why you turned down that profitable bet comes from the groundbreaking work of Daniel Kahneman and his partner Amos Tversky. And what they came up with didn't just add to economics, it completely turned it on its head.
They called it prospect theory. You see, for ages, economists assumed we're all perfectly rational creatures who always make the logical choice. Prospect theory was so revolutionary because it described how we actually make decisions in the real world, with all our biases, emotions, and irrational quirks. And at the very heart of their theory is this one powerful, almost primal instinct that steers nearly every major decision we make, especially when risk is involved. And that instinct is called loss aversion. It's a simple idea with huge consequences. The sting of losing 100 euros is just so much more intense than the joy of finding 100 euros. Our brains are fundamentally wired to avoid pain more than they seek out pleasure. In fact, their research actually put a number on it. It's not just a little stronger. The psychological punch of a loss is roughly twice as powerful as the good feeling we get from an identical gain. That's a huge difference. You can really see that imbalance right here. That red bar, representing the pain of losing, just towers over the pleasure of winning. In your mind, that potential loss literally looms larger. That's the feeling that made you hesitant about that coin flip. It's loss aversion in action.
Okay, so that's rule number one. But there's a second equally important rule. And this one is all about how the exact same information can be presented in different ways to totally change your decision. And this is the classic example. Just look at these two options for a medical procedure. Option A has a 95% survival rate. Option B has a 5% mortality rate. Now, which one sounds better? Almost everyone picks A, right? But here's the thing. They are factually identical. It's the same outcome. But framing it around survival feels safe, while framing it around mortality triggers our loss aversion and makes it feel incredibly risky. And believe me, this isn't just a fun party trick. This affects you all day, every day. It's used in advertising, in political campaigns, in salary negotiations. The way choices are framed is constantly, and often silently, influencing the major decisions of your life. So when you put these irrational behaviors together, they start to point to something much deeper. It's like there's a fundamental conflict happening inside our minds, a battle between two very different selves. Kahneman explained this perfectly with this absolute killer of a line. This one idea is the key to understanding who is really calling the shots in your brain. It's not about what happens to you, it's about the story you tell yourself afterward. He asks us to think of ourselves as two separate entities. First, you've got the experiencing self. This is the part of you that lives in the present, feeling things moment by moment. Then there's the remembering self. This is the storyteller. It's the one that looks back, edits everything into a narrative, and, most importantly, makes the choices for the future. Here's a perfect example. Imagine listening to 20 minutes of the most beautiful symphony you've ever heard. For 20 minutes, your experiencing self is in pure bliss. But then, in the final second, there's a horrible scratching sound from the record. Later, when someone asks you how it was, what do you say? You say it was ruined. Your remembering self lets that one bad ending completely overwrite 20 minutes of pure joy. This is because the remembering self is, to be honest, a really bad narrator. It doesn't average out your experience. It ignores duration completely. It only pays attention to two things: the most intense moments, the peaks,
and how the experience ended. That's it.
And here is the truly mind-bending part. That flawed storyteller, the one with the terrible memory, it's a dictator. It's the one in charge. The remembering self makes all the choices about your future, where to go on vacation, who to hang out with, all based on its biased, edited stories, often dragging your poor experiencing self along for a ride it may not even enjoy.
So I'll leave you with a final thought experiment. Imagine you're planning your next vacation. But here's the deal. When it's over, every photo will be deleted and you'll take a pill that wipes your memory clean of the entire trip. You get to live the experience, but you don't get to keep the memory. Would you still choose the same trip? The answer says a lot about which self you're really living for, the one that lives the moments or the dictator who tells the stories.